Leaders are getting ready for a key EU summit at which migration will be a major talking point. Brian Carter is our correspondent on the ground and he joins me once again from Brussels. We're going to talk about three key points to watch out for during those two-day talks. Brian, the first point, very obvious one, is the migration issue, isn't it?
It is, and absolutely at the top of the EU leaders' agenda for two reasons. The first reason, Matteo Salvini, the Interior Minister of Italy from the far right, who, if you remember, refused the Aquarius to dock in Italy and clearly indicated that Italy will not receive any more migrants, even though Italy is the prime destination for migrants. The other reason is Germany, where you saw Horst Seehofer, the Interior Minister of Angela Merkel, who gave her an ultimatum saying that he would close the borders if she didn't come up with a solution on migration. So obviously, the rise of far-right political parties across Europe is pushing the agenda of migration to the top and to the right, even though we are far away from the crisis of 2015 and the numbers have sharply declined since. Now, all the EU leaders agree on the need to close the external borders, on the need to externalize asylum applications. But when it comes to asylum seekers here in Europe and how to reform their asylum claims, then that's where the debate lies, on the Dublin regulation, on the common European asylum system. And that's where the sharpest debates, the hardest debates will be during this two-day summit.
Well, so much for migration. The second issue is very much about division and unity within the EU. Can we expect any new alliances to be formed?
Well, we will see. But on the one hand, you have the Mediterranean countries, Spain, Malta, but also Greece and Italy especially, who are at the forefront of the migration route and who are pushing for reform of the Dublin regulation, this regulation that says that the country responsible for the asylum application is the country where the asylum seeker first entered. They say that this regulation puts extra burden on them, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily agree with each other. We saw it when Spain received the Aquarius with open arms after Italy refused it. And we see also that Italy and Germany, who seem at odds with each other, agree with the need to reform the asylum application system in order for it to be shared across Europe. But on the other side, you have countries like Austria, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, who do not want to hear about migrants or asylum seekers. So on the one hand, you have these countries, and you also have countries like France, Germany or Spain, who are generally more open to refugees, who do not want necessarily to have migrants in their country as well. We saw it with France's silence on the Aquarius issue.
And just finally, very quickly before you go, Brian, let's open it out a little bit. What are the political stakes across Europe in the next 2 days?
Well, the first is for Angela Merkel. She's really a pillar of stability in Europe, for European member states, for European institutions. And if she doesn't come up with a solution that is satisfying for the CSU, she risks losing her chancellorship, which would open up a period of instability in Europe. The other person that everybody is looking to is Giuseppe Conte, the new Italian prime minister, and his government that were elected on a promise to shake up Europe. And this is the first test where they can show that they're able to actually shake up Europe or not. But it's a test generally for far-right parties and conservative parties across Europe who feel emboldened by this anti-migrant rhetoric, a return to nation states. A poll indicated that 7 out of 10 Italians agree with Matteo Salvini's policy on migration. About the same number of Germans agree with the fact that this should be a common European solution. If you look at France as well, more than 60% of the people, nearly 60% of the people, agree with the fact that France should not receive any migrants from Greece or from Italy. So the issue is very tricky here, and we'll see if they come up with a solution for the asylum seekers who are already here in Europe.